What is happening, everybody? MG here, MGCovers, bringing you a brand new sports handicapping video. Title of this video, How to Maintain a Process for Handicapping. Super excited to get into this video. We're going to give you a real live example from yesterday. Before we do that, if you're watching this video for the first time, hit the subscribe button. Greatly appreciate it. Also, if this video provides you value, greatly appreciate a like as well. Helps the channel grow, as you know. If you follow me on Instagram, give out a ton of content on there. Screen name is MGCovers. Same for Twitter. So if you go in the description of this video, you'll see links so you can click those links and go right to it. All right, so super excited to get into this video about having a process. Now, before we do that, I want to talk about how the, I guess, traditional way that I handicap in the past, probably up to a year and a half ago. There's two parts to handicapping. You have the objective side, which is the model. And then you have the subjective side, which is things like form, line movement, injuries, home away advantage, etc. So about a year and a half ago, I made a decision where I wanted to be 100% objective, meaning take all the subjectivity out of it. And if there was something that in the model that was subjective, and I valued it as significant, I wanted to take that and assign it a numerical number, basically statistically quantify it, so to speak. So I'm going to talk about that and the reason why that's helped my process tremendously, and it makes handicapping extremely easy as far as the process goes, and you don't have to sort of fry your brain when you're handicapping. So for NBA, let me give you an example about taking something that's subjective and making it objective. Form. Okay. So as you know, form means how a team's performing. Maybe they've won 3 out of the last 5. Maybe they've only won 3 out of their last 10. So whatever you deem as the criteria for form, if you're using the last 5 games to evaluate, if you're using the last 10, if you're using the last 20, whatever that number is, all you have to do is that's going to be the number of games you use for your model. So when you go to handicap form, if you feel like the last 10 games are most important, that's the number of games you should be using for your model. So that's basically what I've done now for all of my models. So if I deem it as 5 games are most important, then I'm just going to use 5 games for that model. And that way, the quote form is already factored into the model so that you don't have to handicap it. All right. So with NBA, as you know, this is NBA power rankings from yesterday. Let's go over here. So the sort of new way that I process this now to make it even simpler, obviously the model can produce a line, but what we've shifted to post All-Star break is playing the top 10 teams via the model. I made a video about this previously. It's what I'm calling the alto concept. Alto is the Spanish word for high. So the higher up the teams are via your power rankings, they should win at a higher percentage, predicated on the fact that the model is good, because if the model's not good, nothing's going to work. So if you look at last night, the teams that we had in the top 10 was Boston, Houston, Dallas, Sacramento, Orlando, Minnesota, Indiana, Denver, Knicks, and Phoenix. Now, so let's take a look at the first game. Let's go over here. So Boston. So you look at the line, Boston was, depending on the book, this is at bookmakersreview.com. They give you an overview of a lot of the offshore books. You could see majority of books had this game at anywhere either 10.5 or 11. Now, second part of handicapping, again, when we talk about the process and having criteria, part of my process is I'm only going to play teams where the line is 9.5 or less. Why do we do that? Because the average margin of victory in NBA is 11 points. So the closer you are to that 11, the less likely they are to cover. And we've actually run a test on this several videos back. When the line is 9.5 or less, teams win and cover in the NBA 87% of the time. So in essence, when the line is less than 10, all you're doing is picking the winner. So it makes it real simple. And so for us, we're going to add that to our criteria. So therefore, Boston does not qualify. And this is another good point about using the alto concept. So if you look at the model itself, you would say, wow, Boston's minus 16 here. So you have a little bit of value. But again, we know what happened in this game. Boston was up, blowing Atlanta out. Atlanta comes back from 30, down 30, and comes back to not only cover it, but they also win the game. So again, because we had a process for handicapping, it was very easy to avoid this game. Take a look at New York. New York was in the top 10 via my power rankings. They ended up covering. However, go down to the next one there. You see Phoenix there. They were minus 12, minus 10, depending on the book. Same deal. Not only did San Antonio cover, but they also won. And then right beside that, you can look at Portland and Houston. Houston was in our top 10. They won and covered. However, you had 4 of those games where the line was over 9.5. So if we would have played those, got out of our process, we'd have went 2-2, ended up playing some juice, playing some juice, right? So by having a process, we eliminated all of those games because they didn't fit our criteria and our process for handicapping because the line was not 9.5 or less. However, if you scroll down, let me see where this one's at. Hang on one second. I think I forgot one in here. Oh, I meant to include Denver in here. You can see Denver. Uh, okay, Denver did cover. They were open at minus 14, depending on the book, 12.5. They also covered and won. Let me make sure Memphis was not in our power rankings, just to double check. Slide over here. Go back to here, and you can see there's Denver there. And Denver's in there. And let's go back to lines. So Denver won and covered. However, sticking to a process, we passed on that one. Now, if you look at the 3 games that we did play, Dallas and Utah. Dallas was in our top 10. The line is 9.5 or less, so that was a play. Dallas wins and covers. All right, next game, Philadelphia, Sacramento. Sacramento was in our top 10. The line was 9.5 or less. They won and covered. And then finally, the big one there, Indiana and the Clippers. We had Indiana was in our top 10. Now the line is a dog here. Now this is important. Remember, if the line is 9.5 or less, teams win and cover 87% of the time. So this is what I preach. This is what I teach. So that means if we believe Indiana's going to cover, there's an 87% chance they're going to win the game outright. So we play them on the money line, which is what I did. So in NBA, we ended up going 3-0, and really proud of that. And that's why I think it's so important to have a process. Granted, if we would have played all of them, we would have ended up picking up just a little bit extra there because I didn't realize. I thought it went 2-2, but it actually went 3-2. But still, majority of the time when that line is 11 or greater, it's going to be very difficult for that team to cover. So that's why it's very important to have a process. And go ahead and slide over here to this next screen and show you the wagers there. You could see Indiana, that was a nice win there at plus 187, one Sacramento, one with Dallas, and then we had 2 NHL wagers. We basically split, so made a smidge of a profit there. So basically the big takeaway from this video is that having a process is going to keep you from making mistakes, because let's say we handicap the old school way of traditionally, where you look at the objective, which is the model, and then the subjective. Subjective, it just makes it very difficult. At least it is for me. And it might make it extremely difficult to, or put a lot of doubt into your head as to play or not to play. That's why if you have a very, what's the term I'm looking for? Regimented process. My English isn't good. It makes it real easy to pull the trigger. So you can go to step 1, step 2, step 3, boom. Does it qualify as a play? Yes, it's a play. Does it not? If it doesn't qualify as a play, it's a no play. So hope this video helped. If you want access to these power rankings, click the link in the description. It's $50 a month. You get access to everything. all my lines for all sports. And we're going to have Major League Baseball premiering, I think, April the 9th. That's when our power rankings will come out, basically about 2 weeks into the season. Super excited. We had a really big year in MLB last year. If you want access to everything I just mentioned, in addition, all my plays, $100 a month. And if you want the best value, instead of paying $100 a month, you can pay $4.99, save about $600. You get access to everything on the site for $500. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Good luck. Hope it helps. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.